Shalom Aleichem, we're learning the Farbrengen of Miketz Beis, the Sicha of Miketz Beis, which is based on the Sicha that the Rebbe said on Miketz Tafshin Lamed Hey, and the Teres Menachem version of that Sicha, the Hebrew translation, was just shared this week by Lahak, and if you go to lahak.org, you'll see it on the front page. The most recent Sicha is the second part of Sicha Miketz Tafshin Lamed Hey. And the Sicha is actually pretty much very similar to what was said at the Farbrengen. It does not look, I can't promise, but based on just a little research I did, it does not look that the original Farbrengen had the lesson of Yena Shel Torah, the Chassidus. That looks like it was added later. But there are a few nuggets that I think are worth sharing. Specifically, okay, so this is the Sicha the way it's done in Teres Menachem. And over here, the Rebbe just pointed out a few extra nekudas, which the Rebbe didn't answer. He just asked questions about the order of the names. Seemingly the first name and the last name, Bela, which is he got mixed into the nations, and Yard, that he went down to the nations, Ard, was the same thing. So why is number one, why is the first and the 10th and not one after another? And then the Rebbe asks why after Bela we have Becher, that he's the first born to my son. That has nothing to do with any tsaris. What's the, there's nothing wrong with being the firstborn, but Reuven was also the firstborn. So the Rebbe was medayek, but the Rebbe didn't, at least over here, it doesn't seem that the Rebbe answered the diyukim on the name. But I want to focus on something that I saw here in the Sichas Kodesh edition of the Farbrengen, where the Rebbe says like this. It's similar words that we saw in the Sicha, but it's much more heartsick. So remember when he starts answering that Yosef, gets emotional. So why is he getting emotional? Because Yosef saw as notwithstanding the fact that Binyamin is 8 years younger than him. Because Yosef, we know that when Yosef was born, Yaakov already wanted to go away from Lavan. And then Lavan asked him to stay another 6 years. And then there was 2 years on the journey till Binyamin was born. And so when Yosef went away, how old was what's it called? Yosef. How old was Yosef was 9 years old. Sorry, Binyamin was 9 years old because Yosef was sent away at the age of 17. And then he's gone for 22 years. And notwithstanding all the details of the distance, when he realized that when it came time to give his son a name, Binyamin gave his ersten kind, the first kid, was anomen is azach, was bleibt in ganzen Leben, and a name is a big deal. It's something that stays forever. Is was nemen hat genommen geworden? Nach wem hat genommen? Who did he name after? Nicht nach Zayda Avram. Here's you just see like the Lashonis. It's not after Zayda Avram, similar to Nachar. As sein Namen ist gegangen al Shem seiner Akadev. We find by Nachar that he named after relatives, etc. Or he gave a name after an event that happened with him himself. Is was for a Namen hat gegeben? Hat a Namen gegeben al Shem Achi. He gave a name for my brother. Und das ist nicht nur auf den ersten Kind, not only on the first child, not auf jeder einer 10 Kinder, 10 children, each one. Jeder einer von sie nach seinem Bruder, each one of them after his brother. Is b'shas Yosef at das Terzem, when Yosef saw that das gepelt him na Indian for this girl and his chamu. This accomplished not only they got him, emotional, but literally intensely emotional. Just thought like the way that Rebbe brings that he didn't name after his name is Zayda Avram. And by the way, I just again as a side, not again, I didn't say it, but as an aside, over here, I think it's just an interesting point, parents today, when they name for their children, it's often a thing in vogue to just give a name based on whatever, name sounds right. And over here you see that a namen is a big deal. right? Because a nomin is a Zach was bleibt durch den ganzen Leben. And you give it on a relative, obviously you give it on the Rebbe, on the Avtzon, you give an event that happened, but like, I think even in this paragraph, you see the importance of a name and the fact that Yosef got so emotional from these names. Big deal, he gave a name. A name means a lot. A name means a lot, as you can see in the Sicha. And Stam, I would recommend for this Fabrengen, later on, if you read this section that Taras Menachem just published, Rebbe goes in a whole thing independent of this. Rebbe connects it to Yosef, but it's independent of the Sicha, about making a macha against someone who spoke against the Chafetz Chaim. And Rebbe goes on and on and on and on and on and on, defending the Chafetz Chaim and like standing up for the cover of the Chafetz Chaim, which I think is just fascinating. We see quite a few times in the Rebbe Sichas that Rebbe is incredible derech eretz to the Chafetz Chaim, and the Rebbe explained why he was so successful, that his Mishnah Berurah is accepted across the world because he was a Yid of Oyev Yisrael, etc. It's a very interesting Sicha Fabrengen that I'm sure you would actually enjoy very much. L'chaim.